Missy had always dreamed of being a star. She grew up watching glamorous actresses on the big screen, imagining herself as one of them. By her late teens, she had found her way onto Hollywood sets, her striking beauty and charisma catching the attention of everyone around her. But behind the glittering lights, Hollywood was darker than she expected. It all started on the set of her first major film. Someone she trusted handed her a drink. She didn't think twice about it until hours later, when her body felt like it wasn't her own, her mind foggy, her world spinning. That drink had been laced with heroin, and though she hadn't chosen this path, that single moment became the gateway to her addiction. Over the months that followed, the occasional high became a crutch. By the time Missy realized how deep she was in, it was too late. Heroin had stolen the innocence she had carried with her to Hollywood. Missy's world spiraled, her once bright future dimmed by a growing dependency. She had to find ways to survive, and with no family to turn to, she ended up in places she had never imagined: cheap motels, dark alleys, and anywhere her addiction led her. It was during this chaotic chapter of her life that she met Vincent. Vincent was everything Missy wasn't: grounded, focused, and on the verge of completing his associate's degree at Davidson Community College. He had a quiet strength about him, a sense of purpose that made him stand out from everyone else. They met by chance at a celebrity photo shoot where Missy was accompanying her manager, Luvona. Luvona saw the way Missy's eyes lingered on Vincent, and she made the introduction. From that moment, Missy and Vincent were inseparable. Vincent had always been drawn to helping others. He believed it was his purpose. When Missy confided in him about her addiction, about how heroin had taken over her life, and how she had been pushed into sex work to sustain her habit, he didn't judge her. Instead, he listened. Her vulnerability pulled him in, and his compassion made her feel safe for the first time in years. But their connection came at a cost. Vincent, who had always been disciplined and focused on his future, found himself pulled into Missy's world. He moved into a Days Inn with her, where she turned tricks to support herself. While she worked in their shared motel room, Vincent stood outside in the parking lot, pacing with his textbooks in hand. He told himself he was doing the right thing, being there for someone who needed him. Missy saw Vincent as her protector, someone who wouldn't abandon her like so many others had. And while Vincent cared deeply for her, he couldn't ignore the toll her world was taking on him. His nights were restless, filled with the sound of strangers coming and going, and his days were consumed by guilt, knowing he was sacrificing his own goals for hers. The motel parking lot became a place of reflection for Vincent. While he studied for his final exams, he wondered if he was making a mistake. He was so close to walking across the stage at graduation, to creating a better future for himself, but Missy's pain felt like his responsibility. He thought about his own family, how addiction had touched them too, and how they had never found a way to heal. Maybe helping Missy was his way of making up for the things he couldn't fix in his own past. But as the weeks passed, Vincent began to feel the weight of it all. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was losing himself. Missy's world was a black hole, and he was being pulled deeper and deeper into it. He wanted to save her, but he wasn't sure if he could do it without destroying himself in the process. Missy's story was more than just one of addiction. It was a story of survival, of love and desperation, and of the complicated bonds that form in the darkest places. For Vincent, it was a test of how far he could go for someone else before losing sight of himself. Whether they would escape their circumstances together or fall apart trying remained to be seen.